Homeschooling has become the country's fastest growing form of education. We also have an update in Gaza, where Israeli strikes hit a refugee camp. I'm Jeff Pierre, and this is The 7 from The Washington Post. It's Wednesday, November 1st. Let's get you caught up with today's 7 stories. At number 1 today, Israel claimed responsibility for a deadly attack on a Gaza refugee camp. Palestinian officials said yesterday's strikes killed or injured hundreds of people and destroyed about 20 buildings. Israel said the strikes killed a senior commander of the Palestinian militant group Hamas, which attacked Israel on October 7th. The blasts left a deep crater in the densely populated camp on the outskirts of Gaza City. Rescue workers are continuing to search in the rubble. Meanwhile, back in the U.S., FBI Director Christopher Wray warned Congress yesterday that the Israel-Gaza war could inspire attacks against Americans.
Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is that violent extremists, individuals or small groups, will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives. That includes not just homegrown violent extremists inspired by a foreign terrorist organization, but also domestic violent extremists targeting Jewish or Muslim communities.
Wray's warning came amid a spike in hate crimes against American Jews, Muslims, and Arabs, and reports of rising anti-Semitism on college campuses. Number 2, Donald Trump's children will start testifying in New York today. This is part of the former president's civil fraud trial. His oldest son, Donald Trump Jr., is up first. He'll take the stand today. Eric Trump is set to do the same tomorrow. Then Ivanka and Trump himself are expected to appear next week. Eric and Donald Jr. are co-defendants in this case. They'll probably face questions about alleged efforts to inflate the value of the Trump organization's properties. Ivanka is not a co-defendant, but will testify as a witness. Meanwhile, in Georgia, a man was indicted yesterday after allegedly threatening the district attorney who was prosecuting Trump in the Georgia election case. At number 3, Representative George Santos could be removed from the House as soon as today. The New York Republican faces 23 federal charges, including fraud, money laundering, and falsifying records. Some of his fellow Republican lawmakers are expected to put forward a motion for his expulsion. It would need approval from 2/3 of the House. If it happens, it would be a historic moment. Santos would be the first congressman in over 20 years to be removed, and he'd be the first ever to be removed without a conviction. But many members are hesitant to set that precedent. They worry that removing Santos would open the door to removing other lawmakers as a form of political revenge. Number 4, the Federal Reserve will most likely leave interest rates unchanged today. The Fed is expected to make the announcement this afternoon. It would continue the U.S. central bank's pause in its recent strategy of sharp interest rate hikes. Since last year, raising rates has been its main tool to fight inflation, but it's not clear if these rate hikes are working. Normally, such steep borrowing costs would make people and businesses pull back on spending, but the economy is showing the opposite effect. So rather than raising interest rates again, Fed leaders are set to keep high rates in place for longer than previously expected, and as long as it takes to get inflation under control. At number 5, homeschooling has become the country's fastest growing form of education, and it's by a wide margin. So here's what you need to know about this story, which you'll only get from the Post. The number of children in homeschooling was 45% higher in the 2022 to 2023 academic year than it was in 2017 to 2018. The Post estimates that there are now between 1.9 to 2.7 million homeschooled children in the country. This analysis is the most detailed look to date at an unprecedented period of growth in American homeschooling. There is an increase in kids being taught at home during the pandemic. Experts thought families would eventually go back to traditional schools, but the growth in homeschooling has mostly sustained itself. This is a largely unregulated form of schooling, but one of the biggest takeaways from our reporting is that it's no longer a fringe practice. You may be wondering what this means for where you live, and the Post has got you covered there. You can check your district's numbers through a tool on our website. Number 6 is for everyone tired of all those ads that you're seeing on social media, but the news is just for Europeans. People in about 30 European countries will soon have the choice to pay for Facebook and Instagram. The price is up to $17 a month, and for those users who pay, they'll be able to opt out of ads. Instagram and Facebook's parent company, Meta, made this announcement on Monday. It's a way for the company to appease European regulators who aren't happy about its data collection practices. But like all things, there is a caveat. Even if users pay to turn off ads, Meta will still collect about as much data on their internet habits. They just won't use that data to show targeted ads. And at number 7, the Texas Rangers are one win away from their first World Series title. Texas defeated the Arizona Diamondbacks 11-7 in Game 4 last night. This gives the Rangers a 3-1 series lead. Tonight, Game 5 is in Phoenix, but the Rangers won't have their star outfielder, Adolis Garcia, or pitcher Max Scherzer. Both players are injured and have been removed from the team's playoff roster. You can watch the game at 8:03 p.m. Eastern on Fox. That is the show for today. If you're a longtime listener of The 7, you know that we only scratch the surface of a lot of these stories. But if you're looking to dive deeper into the news, you should check out our afternoon show, Post Reports. You can find Post Reports wherever you listen to podcasts. I'm Jeff Pierre, and I will meet you back here tomorrow.